Will the march and march protest create jobs for South Africans? It's a big question. Even the rest of Africa wants to know, is this going to bring any change in their country? Now, their core argument is that other African nationals are taking their women.
We are tired. We are very tired. You are coming in our country, taking our women, taking our jobs.
Woo! Now that was a joke. But, it's part of the things. Now, their core argument is that other African nationals are taking their jobs. Their claim is that undocumented migrants are taking jobs from South Africans, and their demand is more strict immigration enforcement and deportations of illegal foreigners, including legal ones too.
Handing them over to police, even those with documents to be in the country. Reporter Aviwe Mtila was on the ground to get a real-time account of how things unfolded.
Yet again, another one is being taken by the residents. Another foreign national we suspect being taken by the residents. He's saying that children have been hurt. In fact, we see two young girls. One is bloody. He's saying that his children have been hurt. They with their mother here.
Because at this point, they're stopping everyone.
We are Tongas, we are South African Tongas, but they started calling my daddy Kwere Kwere because he's Tonga. At some point, they were taking him to the van to be deported. And I was like, my dad, he's not foreign national, he's a South African. They were like, we don't care, he's Tonga. So they even went inside our houses, doors are broken. They even took my sister out of the shower while she was showering.
And at this point, they don't really care. They're just saying, just go back to your country. But their promise to other South Africans within the country is that we are doing this for you, fellow South Africans. And we are doing this so that factories will replace foreign nationals with the local ones. Now, it's a very, very tricky situation for South Africans. And it's a very tricky situation for their government also. The conditions that they are pushing here is that as long as we still have foreigners in the country, we are not going to...
Guys, from now on, South Africa yonke, for as long bengakahambi, every Thursday siyamash.
Yes, as long as we do have foreigners employed instead of locals, we are not going to rest. We are going to make sure that those things have been resolved. Right now, as it stands, the unemployment rate of South Africa is at 32%, which is one of the highest in the world. And the unemployed people in the country is about 8 million plus or minus, which is also a big number. So sometimes you would understand why these people are protesting. But do they really understand what's the cause? What's the root cause? Why is there 8 million people unemployed?
That there's hundreds of thousands of illegal property practitioners in the industry right now that are causing chaos to the whole industry and ruining this country. But I could target them, which is what you've done with your marches. You've targeted the illegals. But instead of doing that, I did more research and I realized that the illegals aren't the problem. It's the authority. The people that are supposed to regulate it, the people that are supposed to get them their documents and then mandate that they have them and enforce it.
Now, the root cause is that there is a big issue in the skilled gap. Most of the South Africans or most of the locals are not willing to work on Mondays after they come from my piano. And when they have money, when they are paid, they might not come to work on Monday or Tuesday sometimes, which is something that has been reportedly said by some of the employers. Now, that's why they are rooting for immigrants and foreigners, considering there's also cheap labor and also there is also, work ethic. There is also people who are willing to work. Now, the lack of growth in the country is one of the things that has contributed to these scenarios. But without proper explanation or proper de-escalation of things to other local people, they wouldn't understand what's causing this frustration of unemployment. So they just blame it on the fellow black people. Now, the big question here is that why is it only black people are also targeted instead of all the people or all the immigrants or all the foreigners who are in South Africa? No, they are claiming that the other people are bringing jobs, but the blacks are not. They are taking jobs. Now, this has caused a lot of crazy arguments in the country. Why? Because some South Africans are also employed by the people who own spazas, retail shops and saloons and etc. Some people are finding jobs through those black people who are in the country. Now, does it mean that the black people are the only people who are not creating employment? That is very incorrect. Should South Africans also check passports and registrations of the white people, the Indians, the Chinese, other nationals who are in their countries? Yes, they should. But right now, it seems like a targeted attack towards the black community. Does this mean that it's being funded elsewhere for black hate black? We don't know. We don't have any proof. Allegedly, people are saying it could be that. But moving on with our situation at hand, is this going to make any difference in South Africa? Now, the protests can actually destroy jobs. Yes, it can actually destroy jobs. Why? Because violence and shop closures, those two things are going to affect the economy very hard, because as long as there's violence, the shops are going to be closed. Because you can't open a shop when people are running around doing vandalism and destroying things, and at the same point, stealing things from the shops. I mean, anaskoko, watu wanamkana, anaita, anatagataga. But anyway, the investors now fear that if you invest in South Africa, there is a lot of uncertainty. These people are not actually governable. So the verdict about this war, march and march protest is that, is it going to create jobs or not? Unfortunately, yes, but it's not going to have a bigger impact or a large scale long-term plan in terms of creating the jobs. Now, number one is that a few specific workplaces might actually employ locals when the foreign nationals who are employed there have been exposed. But we're talking about only a few hundred of people. Now, South Africa needs millions of jobs to solve its problem. Now, some factories might do the same and reportedly get committed to employ locals, but the root causes that are leading to these problems are not yet solved. They are not touched. We are talking about lack of growth, lack of investments, lack of infrastructure. So we are talking about lack of growth, lack of infrastructure, and lack of investments. These are the things that totally affects the economy and creates unemployment. Now, enforcement of inspections might open small number of roles, in higher offices, higher places, and other parts of the country where there is opportunities to employ people. But the violence and the unrest will always chase away the investors. Now, let me know what you think in the comment section, because already countries like Zimbabwe and Malawi, Zambia, they're already sending buses to ferry their people from South Africa coming back to their country. Zimbabwe has already promised that when people come back here, they are going to get a certain contribution from government to help them assist their life in Zimbabwe. And Ghana was one of the countries that started with, taking its nationals back to their home country. Now, in the music sector, already in Zimbabwe, Mafikizolo gig, which was supposed to happen, was cancelled. And the Zambezi bonfire, which was said to be performed by another South African artist, was also cancelled. The artist was removed from the list, and the event is going on. The same as the Mafikizolo one, they were removed on the list. The event is still going on, which shows that the rest of Africa is protesting against the South Africans. Will this be good for the economy? Will this be good for the artists? Will this be good for them as a nation? Will they survive alone, detached from the rest of Africa? Now, it's a very big question and a question to consider for South Africans. For the rest of Africa, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Otherwise, that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, follow, and subscribe if you love these videos. Otherwise, that's it for today.